Welcome back to another episode of NAD NewsPoints on the Air, a production of the North American Division of Seventh-day Adventists. I'm your host, Milan Medley. Have you made your New Year's resolutions yet? Do you intend on making them? Or are you more like me and you skip the practice altogether? Regardless if you've made a list or you've already given up on some of the items you put on that list, many are reflecting on 2020, crafting goals, and setting priorities for the new year. We're taking some time now to do that for an important part of our church's mission. Our guest today, Vandeon Griffin, Associate Director of NAD Youth and Young Adult Ministries, participated in this exercise by sharing a New Year's resolution on how to make the church a better place for young people in 2021. Hey, Vandeon, thanks so much for coming on today.
Hey, how you doing? Good to be with you. I must admit, pretty excited, and I don't know. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah. So let's get started. Can you first tell me what first led you to get into youth ministries?
I tell you, the thing that led me is the fact that I had an amazing youth leader growing up in my local church, and just the influence and I guess the amount of activities that we did, and being involved in Pathfinders, and then hanging out at youth federations, going to different youth federations, youth congresses, that just excited me. And so I've loved it for a long time.
Yeah, youth ministries is quite robust. It, has many arms, and it, offers a lot of opportunities. So let's talk about, with all those operations, when the coronavirus pandemic hit, how did youth ministries across this territory pivot to still extend those ministries under these really challenging circumstances?
Absolutely. I mean, the pivot was quick and painful, I would say, for even for the North American Division Youth Ministries Department. None of us, and this is common language. None of us were prepared for the pandemic, and that goes to say for those who are in youth ministries, we were just not prepared, and we've always tried to do innovative things in youth ministries, but we had to get really creative and innovative, and we had to pivot quick in order to make youth ministries happen on a level of excellence. And so across the division, we had to really hold the hands of some of our youth leaders who were just hoping that this thing would be over with in a matter of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and life would resume as usual. We would travel to the event and be present in the moment, as opposed to sitting in front of a computer. So it was a challenging experience, but yet a rewarding experience, because man, we have seen God do some amazing things since we've made the pivot from in-person meetings to these virtual meetings.
Yeah. So beyond the leaders, how have the youth and young adults that you've interacted with, how have they navigated 2020, such a difficult year?
Yeah, I will tell you that it has been a huge challenge for our teams across the division. Their need to connect has really been a challenge, because they're just the kind of people that like to interact and hang out, and I have a Gen Z in my home, and I think the only thing that really allowed her to survive was she's a boarding school. She attends a boarding school, and because of that, she was able to go back to school and be in a bubble, and then be with her friends. But I would tell you, Milan, prior to that, it was challenging.
In what way?
Well, she wanted to connect. She wanted to hang out with her friends. She wanted to do this. And I'm like, well, we can't do that. So you got to hang out with me. I learned very quickly that even though we're really tight, I am just not, her girls, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not
Yeah.
the guys that she laughs and talks with. And so, I did see some changes in her of just, being down. I wouldn't even say depressed, just disappointed a lot that she couldn't have that interaction with her people group.
Yeah. And I want to go back to the leaders you mentioned. Clearly this didn't end in a couple of weeks. So about how did they kind of power through? How did you help guide them? Let's
Yeah.
kind of walk with us through the year.
Yeah. So what one of the things that we realized very quickly was that we needed to still stay connected to our youth leaders around the division, starting with our union youth directors and then our conference youth directors. And to be honest with you, again, we were unprepared. We were sent home from the office and then told that we will revisit this in a week or so. And honestly, I came home. I remember this on a Monday evening, and Tuesday, evening, I was online. Because I had done some online stuff live with Facebook before and with through Zoom. And so I just said, you know what? Since I'm going to be home for the next 3 or 4 days, how about I just go online and just talk about here's some of the things that you can do as youth leaders with your teens while you're on lockdown for this week. You're only thinking 1 week,
Yeah.
and I started with how to have creative devotionals and make them exciting and blah blah blah. And then I did some AYS games for those who don't understand that terminology. Adventist Youth Society. I don't even know if we still do AY anymore, but I mean the games that come with AYS are just so exciting even to me. And so we did some of those things, and then we shared with our union youth directors, here's what we're doing for this week. And hey, we'd love for you to just tap into what we're doing and share it on your social media outlets. And let's see what happens for this first week. What we then realized was, 1 week turned into 9 months. And
Yeah.
and we just kept going every single week. And what we did was we brought our union youth directors together and just share with them, here's the platform that we're using. Here's how we connect Zoom to Facebook, which is where 99.99999% of our union youth directors reside. And we said, and most of your youth leaders and your conference youth directors, they reside there as well, unless, they're maybe, 30 years and under, then they're on Instagram and Twitter. But so we just said, hey, here's what we're doing. And we are figuring it out. One of the things that we decided to do was just be honest with them. Hey, listen, we're figuring this thing out as we go. And but we want to and we need to make this pivot because it doesn't look like we're going to get back to normal anytime soon. So so we pivoted to say, let's stick with this and see what happens. And from that, wow, we just saw a whole new world. And a lot of our youth leaders have made the pivot with us, but there are some who just haven't because they were not really into social media on any level.
Okay.
They had a picture on their Facebook.
One of
and
those bare bones
bare,
accounts.
bare
Yeah.
bones accounts, and just the frustration of having to have their computer, having to set it up themselves, that kind of thing, because everybody's working remotely. And so it was, to be honest with you, it was a challenge for the older leaders, but some of them, found ways to make it, especially if they had grandkids that were near them and their children who were willing to help them.
Awesome. And then you were telling me beforehand something that you and the division leaders are doing on a weekly basis, like a program to provide for youth. Can you talk about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, absolutely. The responsibilities that I have been assigned at the North American Division is with Senior Youth Ministries, and with Senior Youth Ministries, we have really been focusing on youth Sabbath school. We believe wholeheartedly, and I don't want this to be any mistake in anybody's mind. We believe wholeheartedly that all youth ministries is born out of youth Sabbath school. When you can get teens together to get into the Word and have good fellowship, have good fun, and have good food, and then connect that to faith, you actually have something that's worth investing in. And so we just decided to take what we have been doing in our department as we traveled around the division, training people for youth Sabbath school, because again, we believe that's the heart of youth ministries. We just decided, hey, let's actually live this out online. And so we just started hosting youth Sabbath school, youth church every single week since March 21. We haven't missed a Sabbath, and we call it Momentum Youth Church and Youth Sabbath School. And Momentum stands for strength gained through progress. And so we believe that if our students progress through Sabbath school, through discipleship and service, then they actually become well-rounded teams, and they create all kind of momentum. So that's the whole idea, and we've been doing it every single week for the last 9 months.
Wow, haven't missed a week.
And it's been amazing, rewarding, eye-opening, and we've been able to connect with teens around the division to come on and lead youth Sabbath school, facilitate it for us. Be a part of it, or either sing or share the word. We've had our union youth directors and our conference youth directors to come on, some local pastors and churches around the division. It's just been an amazing experience.
So the youth that do participate in that program, and maybe what you've heard from the local leaders, what are their attitudes toward the church right now? What are they expecting from their spiritual leaders as they're going through, 2020? Crazy year, to say the least. So much happened, so many families have been impacted. What were they looking for from their churches?
Yeah, they're looking for a relationship. Bottom line, I mean, the foundation for their existence is relationship. They live to relate to each other, interact, and connect on a deeper level, other than, can you do opening prayer for me? Can you sing? I know you have talent. Can you play for me? What about how are you today? And what's going on in your world?
Yeah.
And many of them have expressed it even on our Sabbath worship and Sabbath school programs on Sabbath. They talk about, one of the things that's critical for them is being able to be in relationship with people who are not just in relationship with them to get something from them, to do something for them, but because I actually care about you. I just want to know how you're doing, what's on your mind. And whatever that is, allow me to talk about it with some freedom. You know what I'm saying? Don't restrain me, and don't get out of sorts if I start going down a road that is uncomfortable for you as an adult. I actually want you to be comfortable with me having that conversation, because I'm choosing, and that's the operative word, I'm choosing to have that conversation with you. I can definitely have it with my friends, but I'm choosing to have it with you. So relationship is really key for them.
What are the types of conversations they're hoping to have?
Mental health. Here's how I'm feeling right now, and and it's deeper than. And I hope I don't I don't get all kinds of crazy emails because of this. But they're hoping that it's deeper than let's pray about it.
Yeah.
For them, they want to say, can we talk about it? This is actually how I feel, and I have, surprisingly, I have prayed about it. And it's not working, and I think that kind of freedom to say that, because usually adults were like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you just said, prayer's not working. That's what they're saying is, I am praying, but I want to be able to talk to somebody else to say, here's what I'm going through, and I had, as teens, they're quick to say, I'm not where you are spiritually, what I'm saying? But I know that there is a God, and I just want to be able to freely say, I'm not doing well. You know, because Alana, as you know, our kids had to pivot as well.
Yeah.
And this thing became very overwhelming to them. Everything they knew, and everything that they were hoping to do and be a part of, all of it was just snatched away immediately.
Yeah.
And it just sent them into a downward spiral. And so a lot of them would like to have that discussion of how they are feeling and what they can do to get to a better place, and with their emotions and mental health.
That's something I really admire about Gen Zs coming up. They seem to be more mindful of their emotions and mental health. Whereas when I was coming up, talking about mental health wasn't on any Sabbath school agenda.
No.
I don't know if it was on the radar of my youth leaders, and if it was, it didn't make its way to my understanding. So it's awesome that these kids, well, the youth, are so aware of that, and then it's made its way to you, Vandeon, to a leader in the church, and that it's inspiring you to make that connection for them.
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we decided to put some human and financial resources behind the whole mental health issues and challenges that are facing our teens. And we created an 8 book series for mental health. That's actually on our website, adventistyouthministries.org. And it's a free download for our teens and youth leaders who are noticing or have noticed anything or any differences with their teens. They can actually get that resource and actually walk with them through the process. It's very interactive, high level of expertise put together, and it's done by our people, Adventist people. And yeah, it's a great resource that kind of was born out of this need, and a lot of Gen Zs are openly having those kind of conversations, you know, and we feel like we needed to be there, and help walk them through this process. And to be honest with you, nobody was there to walk me through that process. And I hear what you're saying, that nobody had discussion. These kids, these teens today are just on a different level. I'm here for it.
Yeah, me too. It's admirable. I wish I had that. So yeah, let's build on that. If you could make, this is time for new year, new me, you start to see those posts on Facebook, Instagram. If you could make a New Year's resolution for the church as it relates to youth, senior youth and young adults, what would it be? How can we continue to make the Seventh-day Adventist Church better for the youth in 2021?
Yeah, you took part of it, and that is better together. That would be my resolution for youth leaders, church attendees, our aunts and uncles, what I'm saying, family, youth directors, local church youth leaders. We can do better together, and I think in 2021, just moving away from operating on my own or in a silo, but moving to in tandem with our teens better together is a great way to do life. And I think that's what we have to be focused on, because ministry is a part of life. And I think that when we only approach our teens on the ministry side of things, we lose them as an individual, as a person, as a human. And so in 2021, my resolution is better together. Let's do life together. And whatever that looks like, what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying I'm here for it. I'm like totally geeked that I have a Gen Z in my home and I get a chance to do life with her and all kinds of crazy stuff. And, has been so rewarding and exciting. And so better together in 2021.
Yeah. Does your Gen Z have you on TikTok? Is that one of the crazy things that
unashamedly, unashamedly. She's like, Dad, we gotta do this dance together. I want you to hear this now. Dad,
Yeah.
we got to do this dance together. And I am saying, but I'm an ordained Seventh-day Adventist minister, And she's looking at me like, dude, get over it. You know what I'm saying? Let's do this dance together. And some TikTok she saw, and she's like, and I don't have any kind of timing, and I mean I can barely rock well. You know what I'm saying? If I have to rock and clap together, it's gonna be ugly, right? So the fact that she knows the kind of guy I am, and she's like, bro, let's do this thing. I learned that dance, and it took me about an hour, but I got it down, and she recorded it, and all kinds of, she's friends with all kinds of people, and man, some of the guys I hang out with, man, they were sending it back to me laughing. So I did a good job. I told her, I'm one and done, but I did it.
Yeah, you did. You have
Yeah.
experience now. You can say I've traversed the TikTok land. But hey, I wanted to also ask you for, Better Together. How do we reach youth who maybe aren't attending your weekly Sabbath school classes or aren't fully plugged into a youth ministry in their churches, or they're not part of small groups? How can we reach them?
Yeah, so we realize that is a need, and we're not blinded to it, but we also realize that we actually do have teens who are attending, and so the teens that are attending are our best PRs for what we do. And we actually just brought on a young lady to be a part of our team and to help us with social media. She has a lot of friends and a lot of influence, and I didn't know that, but I have these kind of conversations. Again, I am tremendously blessed to have a child in my home, and so we have these conversations like, oh, Dad, you just need to get with so and so and so and so. Okay, hook me up, and we'll do it. And so we brought on this young lady who helps us, and she's now kind of reaching out to her friends who are not engaged at all, and they are somewhat like thinking about it because she's a part of it. Now, she's a part of our team. She wants to be a part of our team, but she just has influence, and I think that's the way we connect with those who are not a part of ministry at all. There are some teens in your church or in your home that you are aware of that have friends. They have friends, and they have friends on top of friends, and their friends have friends, And so we try to use that influence that we have with these teenagers and see what happens. And we've seen our viewership go up. We're like I said, we do a weekly program. It's on Facebook, but of course, our teens are not on Facebook.
They're on TikTok.
They're on TikTok, and they watch YouTube. I can't tell you the last time I've seen my daughter watch an entire show on TV. She watches snippets on YouTube. Goes from one clip to the next. That kind of thing. So we've gone to YouTube, and that's where we have our teens watching us. And this young lady is helping us to actually build that crowd to watch and be a part. And I think the other thing is seeing themselves actually being a part of something, and that's why we try to have teens on with us every single week. If not, it's another adult meeting.
Yeah.
And we're trying to be cool, and we're trying to use the lingo. It doesn't work. But bring them on and just kind of do it with them because we're better together. And so we are very confident that intergenerational ministry is the best way to go going forward. No more silos. It's good to have youth church. I'm not knocking it. It's good to have children's church. But what's great is to have intergenerational church where everybody is together and what is taking place is for everybody. And that causes for some creativity and some humility and some willingness to say, this is going to be better if we do it together.
Yeah. Any final thoughts toward leaders or youth, moving into 2020, more ideas as how they can be better together?
Yeah, our theme as we're preparing for 2021 is three words, and we think that these three words will help us and propel us into doing better together in 2021. Our theme is "Go Do It," and we're pretty stoked about this whole idea of challenging our teens and our youth leaders to go and do it. Go and actually be better together. Whatever challenges you have faced in 2020, and it's been a challenging year for everybody. I don't care who you are, you've experienced some kind of challenge because of this pandemic. But in 2021, we're challenging everybody. Go do it. Whatever it is that you've been called to do, we see now that things can be done differently and be exciting, and we've seen innovation take place. We've had an opportunity to review what works and what doesn't work, and so we're saying in 2021, go do it. Get up, get it done, no excuses, and if you do it together, it's going to be much better.
Yeah. Awesome. Can you tell me again where you can get those mental health resources, and then how to watch your weekly Sabbath school program?
Absolutely. AdventistYouthMinistries.org is where the mental health resources are, and it's absolutely free. You just click and download it. If you like to have a hard copy of the series, Advent Source is the place to go, adventsource.org, and you can order the resource there for a nominal fee. It's just for the printing to have it in your hand. But again, you can have it for free as a download on AdventistYouthMinistries.org. And every single Sabbath, including this coming Sabbath, we are on with Youth Church and Youth Sabbath School. And you can watch that on our YouTube channel at North American Division Youth Ministries, and on Facebook, North American Division Youth Ministries.
All right. Thank you so much, Vandeon, for coming on and sharing what you're doing for the youth during this difficult time.
Thank you for having me. Blessings.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of NAD NewsPoints on the Air. This program is produced, edited, and hosted by me, Milan Medley. Executive producers are Dan Weber, Julio Munoz, and Kimberly Moran. Graphics are by Jonathan LaPointe. Be sure to listen to us on the go or anywhere on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Subscribe, give us 5 stars, and write a glowing review. And speaking of subscribe to NewsPoints, a weekly digital newsletter containing news stories, special announcements, and ministry resources. Go to nadadventist.org, then click on news. If you have questions for me, send them to ontheair@nadadventist.org. That's ontheair@nadadventist.org. That's it for today's episode. We'll see you next time.